if you guys want questions, it might be easier to do a question and answer session than just having us talk. So does anybody have any questions?
Mom, who was your son and what was he like?
Terion.
That train's going by. I want to make sure we can hear you.
Okay. Terion, which we call Terry, was a ball of joy, full of life, and busy as heck. He required constant care because he was so busy. He loved outdoors, he loved the sun, he loves nature, and he overloved water. So we did a lot of water parks and theme parks. He had a lot of more life to live, you know, because although he was nonverbal, he spoke through his actions, through his gestures, and just the love that he displayed to everybody that he came in contact with. And it just never should have happened.
How long was he at this facility?
He started August of 2022, and I received the call on November 30th, 2022. So 3 months.
What was it about Angels on Earth that attracted you to bring your son here and trust them?
They were recommended to me by his therapist's office and also Children's Medical Service Network that is a company through Medicaid that helps parents like us get the services we need for our children.
Did you ever spot any red flags before this happened?
When I look back, you know, when he first started, they gave him like the wrong medication or something. And when I questioned them about it, they said that it was a mistake and that they made a mistake and wrote it on Terry's paper, but they didn't actually give him the medicine.
Is there one employee specifically who you think is responsible, or do you think it's multiple employees?
I just think it's the overall facility itself. I'm really not sure because we don't have those answers. That's what we're here for today. We want justice. We want answers. We want to know what happened to Terry in his last, you know, leading up to his death.
How much has Angels on Earth, or for that matter, investigators told you about what happened? As I understand it, this is still an open and active case, but what have they shared with you?
I'm sorry to cut in. Really, so far, we've got things piecemeal. We have the original police report that kind of gives the basics of what happened in terms of when the police arrived and fire rescue arrived, and then obviously some of the medical records. The medical records we got from Angels on Earth don't even discuss what happened here on November 30th. It was like it was a normal day. There's no indication that there was any type of traumatic event. There's no indication that there was any type of rescue that was necessary. Nothing. Nothing about a glove, nothing about, it's quite.
Like a normal day.
Yeah, like a normal day. But, so we don't know who was supposed to be in the room, if there was more than one person that was supposed to be in the room, what was actually happening before, what the excuse is that no one was caring for Terion. We don't know that yet. And, you know, we know that there's a video. There's a surveillance video from inside the actual facility that said, from what we've been told, it doesn't show the entirety of it, but it shows the room that Terry was in when this happened. And trust me, we are doing everything we can to be patient, because, you know, we understand, the family understands that we want everybody that is responsible to be held accountable. We understand that the police and the authorities need to do their job. We would have liked, at some point, Angels on Earth come forward to tell us some things that happened, but instead they've remained quiet from day one. And that is extremely upsetting to the family and to the amount of outpouring and the amount of people reaching out to the family to tell them about their experiences has been overwhelming. The condolences from folks that are outside of Angels on Earth have been overwhelming. We feel that the folks that work here, we're not saying that every single person that worked at Angels on Earth is a horrible person or I think that they were probably told that they weren't allowed to speak, and you know, people have jobs and they need their jobs, and they were just following the rules. But now that everything's closed, maybe those people will now come forward to not only help the family, but maybe the authorities, so they can get to the bottom line of what the truth is and what actually happened.
About them closing, in a statement last week, they told us that they were closing due to their own family emergencies, and they dismissed what they called rumors. I assume they were referring to why we're here now. Do you think they were being truthful in that statement last week?
You know, it would be pure speculation. I don't know if there was any type of family emergency. It's quite a coincidence that they shut down. The employees, from our understanding, had no notice. They received an email or a WhatsApp saying, don't come to work, we're temporarily closing. And then the next day, I believe what happened first is that the authorities filed a civil injunction to freeze the bank accounts, and then the arrest came the day afterward. It's coincidental, very coincidental if that's really what happened. But again, I don't know if they had any family emergencies. They may well have.
Ma'am, what do you need the owners of this place to understand about what you're going through?
Well, we lost our son prematurely. I mean, he was a baby. We trusted this facility to take care of him and those particular things. And for me, I can honestly say that Mom and my son, they did an outstanding job of taking care of him. And then they bring him here just to get a little relief, you know, and this happens. And so for me, I just would like the person or persons that are responsible for the gross negligence, because that's what it was that caused his demise. And I'm so hurt. I've been depressed. I didn't even know what depression was until this happened. And it's awful. It's something that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life. I never got a chance to really to be the father that I would like to be to him, because my job allowed me to be away all the time. And so I never got that opportunity, you know, that I wanted. So that's something that I'm gonna have to live with. But, you know, we're here not to demonize this place per se, because it's a lot of people that didn't experience what we've experienced. It's some people that, you know, never had a problem with this place. But we lost our child. One child is too much. And so if and when they reopen, if that happens, we just want to make sure that this doesn't happen to another family. Okay?
What has healing been like for you guys? Or do you feel like you're not able to even heal because justice hasn't been served?
As for me, yes, I think like healing hasn't even begun. It's been a horror story. As Dad said, I never knew what depression was like either. And it's like I'm fighting my hardest just to stay sane. What helps me the most is just thinking about the good times, his smile, his unconditional love that he displayed to each and every person that he came in contact with. My faith in God, most importantly, because without that, I don't know how anybody would be able to even fathom this. Terry didn't deserve to die in the manner he did. My son Terrence and I, we did it for 13 years, and we're not trained in the areas that we were told they were trained in. We learned as we went. We paid attention was the main thing. Like, Terry needed that constant care. If I needed a break, he took over. If he needed a break, I took over. We knew not to leave Terry by himself. And we've been fighting, like I said, for 13 years to get a safety bed enclosure, which we had just received, I want to say about 2 weeks before this happened, 2 to 3 weeks before this happened. We were fighting for that bed for 3 years. And we finally got that bed, and he never really got to sleep in it. We were fighting for a seat belt, a special seat belt, so that he wouldn't be in the back window because he liked to climb. If everybody knows he's a climber. And we finally got that seat belt like 3 months before that, and we were able to use it, and I was happy about it. I'm like, yeah, we're getting all the safety things we need. And there was one more fight that we were waiting on, and it was a stroller that we were fighting for. It arrived a week or two after Terry's death. When my son called me and said it was there, I was happy that it came. But in his grieving, he mentioned it to the company that was dropping it off, and they called me back immediately and said that he needed to turn around and pick it up. I was doing fine up until that point because I wanted that stroller, because we fought like hell for that stroller. And although Terry was not here with us, looking at that stroller reminded me of our fight, but they wanted it back.
Any other questions?
What is next for this case?
Well, what'll happen, we'll go through the normal course. In terms of the lawsuit has been filed, we're waiting for an answer and some discovery responses. The discovery responses that we sent out initially was for a bunch of things, but it also was who was in the room, who was responsible for the supervision at that time, who was in the building, the video, things of that nature. So we're hoping to start getting answers sooner than later. I don't know when we start talking to Mr. Cabrera or some of the higher-ups if they're going to testify, if they're going to hide behind their Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, even though this case has nothing to do with the criminal case. This was, Terion was proved to be here. He was obviously a child that was supposed, that was here legally, so to speak. So one doesn't have anything to do with another, unless perhaps there's a situation where there was not enough people here because they were doing some shady stuff with the books in terms of not having the amount of personnel so they could skim some more money off the top. I don't know that. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what we're looking for. We want to see how this operation worked and why specifically this incident, this horrific day for the family happened.
And we want to know why Terry was left alone when they knew specifically not to leave him alone. I constantly, repeatedly told them that every morning when they picked him up on the bus, every time I came to the school at any point, I always made them aware, hey, don't leave him alone. Don't let him be around you. Pay attention. He puts everything. And they knew this. But that was the reason why we were told to bring him here, because they said that they were the leading special needs school in Central Florida. And they had enough nurses, constant care, 12 hours, they said, around the clock to be able to handle this, just so that we can get a little break.
And just so you know, the Terion was born with an anoxic brain injury. He was premature, and he had several other issues from a medical standpoint. He was fed through a G tube or a feeding tube. And also, one of the situations that he had is they had a very difficult time swallowing. That's why he had the feeding tube. And the fact is that it was well known, it's documented in the intake forms, that he puts foreign objects in his mouth. That is something how in the world can you leave something there that he could grab and put into his mouth? That's negligence. That's the definition of negligence. The fact is that not only is that negligence, but the fact that you left it there, so he had the ability to not only grab it, put it in his mouth, but also to get so far along that it caused him to pass away, that obviously they weren't paying attention. They weren't in the room. They didn't know what was happening. And when they found him, it was too late. So we have to find out what led up to that and why that happened and how it happened. And that's one of the main things that this is about. There's a few things, but it's answers, justice, and making sure that this does not happen to another family, like Taryn Sr. said, because they would not want to put this on to anyone, because it's almost too much to bear. But they keep fighting on because Tarion's worth the fight.
Yes, he is.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Guys, are you seeing tighter shots?
Because I didn't have it on the
Everybody's
release.
Terrence Hanner-Jackson,
You guys don't have the
T-A-R.
T-A-R.
E-N-C-E. Hanner, H-A-N-N-E.
It corrected it. T-A-R.
E-N-C-E.
Hopefully it won't do that again. Okay, got it.
Hanner. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If we move to the side of this, I think we can't see that one. It's behind you. We got that. That's okay.
Just want to slide over so the microphones don't block right here.
Good.